Well, welcome to SAMA. It's wonderful to have you with us. The purpose of the SAMA is to introduce a new product that MiraMate has released. So let's get started. The product that we have is this new unit here, MiraMate. It's MiraMate Ray Gun. Now, without any further ado, I'll show this PowerPoint that we have prepared to explain how to use the ray gun and how to get the best results. So this is our MiraMate Ray Gun. It's a beautiful device. It looks like a little gun. It's got a little trigger which you pull, and that's all you need to know. Okay, that's the end of the SAMA. But if you want to know more, just wait a few moments and we'll go into the details. The brief overview. MiraMate Ray Gun is a safe and effective UV light therapy treatment device. It can do surface conditions, but it can also do deeper skin issues as well, which is a first for a VUV device. VUV stands for vacuum ultraviolet. It's a bandwidth of light which is at the very, very edge of ultraviolet, and we'll be getting into that shortly. Now, ray gun can also benefit plants and get rid of bald spots on walls. It can benefit humans, that's you and I, and also our furry friends and plants as well. And here we have a model showing just how it is used. You hold the end of the ray gun onto the skin where you wish to have treated, and then you pull the trigger. For you and I, ray gun can help with acne, age spots, psoriasis, vitiligo, eczema, persistent itching, basal cell skin cancers. Now we're talking about cancers which are quite serious: squamous cell skin cancers, melanomas, and other forms of skin cancers. Now we can back this up because we've done lab tests, and I'll be showing this in a short while. It can also cause other common skin problems caused by fungi, bacteria, or viruses. Now, ray gun hasn't been out for very long, so we haven't got a terrific number of testimonials. We sent out prototype units to our friends and loved ones so that they can see how it works for their conditions. We got a few reports back of just how ray gun went. This person had 2 successes. One was on a woman who had a rough patch of skin on the forehead, and after 2-minute treatments, the skin felt much smoother and perhaps 80% improvement. The second person had 2 patches of red skin on their nose. The person treated each of these patches 2 times for 2 minutes again, and they didn't notice any changes immediately after the treatment. But once this person had returned home, they did see improvement. And they did show some photos of before and after of the red patches on their nose. Chaffee was one of our friends. In fact, he's one of our the first people that joined the spooky group. So we sent him a gun for sure. And he sent us this report. It made us, it really touched us. He writes, "Shock and awe and very happy. I first understood what I was holding in my hands. I went to work and began experimenting and seeing health recovery results immediately." Chaffee writes, "I'm very active and I am always getting into trouble with my health. I also consume foods I am allergic to and my skin often breaks out. I spend a lot of time outside and usually end up with scratches or cuts walking in nature or doing projects. Months, years, decades of health issues vanishing like magic, like acne, athlete's foot, blisters, circulation improved, eye vision improvement, dandruff, ear problems, eczema, fungus, moles, pain relief, rosacea, scars, scratches, scrapes, skin blemishes, insomnia even, toe fungus, wrinkles, wounds. Health of hair, feels, looks much better. Shafi continues, I have many strategies with Ray Gun. I have this on my bed and ready to go 3 times a day. I use it around 10 to 30 minutes a session. I hold the ray gun on the skin from 15 seconds to 60 seconds. I time sessions with smartphone clock app. After applying violet ray to all things on skin I want to resolve, I will hold ray gun over a blood artery of neck, wrist or leg for 1 minute at a time. Blood travels around the body in 60 seconds. The ray gun will oxygenate the blood and cleanse and vanish parasites, virus, germs, bacteria, candida, Lyme parasites, pathogens, mold, toxins, etc. This will help purify the body, allowing greater health, happiness and energy. My top health recovery updates, and this is continuing, he's a good writer. Pain vanishes. I have pain condition called CRPS or RSD. It is classed as the most painful chronic pain condition that is known. After my Spooky 2 ray gun session, my pain level drops quite drastically and I feel very good, very calm, and I can say I become very peaceful, blissed out and pain-free. Isn't that amazing? He writes, I have had crawling sensation on my face for years. This condition is also Morgellons or delusional parasitosis. I've noticed that this has also disappeared and I'm very happy about this. I've known many who have ended their lives because they could not stop these crawling sensations. If only they had this device to end their suffering. I've had a sweat gland on face for around 5 years that turned into a sore that would not heal. A few sessions of the ray gun and it has now started to vanish. And this is quite astonishing to see, especially after so many failed, expensive visits to skin specialists. In the last incident, he says, I recently cut my leg and the ray gun not only cauterized the wound, also stopping the pain. The accelerated rate of wound healing was quite amazing. One of those things you have to see to believe. I highly recommend the ray gun. At first, ray gun may look a little intimidating and may get a little static electric shocks. Nothing to worry about. This is one of the most powerful health recovery tools I have ever used. The results are immediate, and they are immediate. When you use ray gun, you see the results straight away. He continues, I also recommend taking photos of body issues. Show before and after photos to friends and family. These may inspire them to take control and be free. Well, that's a very good recommendation. So many times I've used ray gun and immediately, like straight away, there's results, visible results. And I think, gosh, I really should have taken the before photo. But you live and learn. Okay, now this person says, I've done a little work with the ray gun. I did a quick test on a lady friend's hand. We watched a spot disappear in seconds after treatment. Now she's asking for me to do both her hands. I tried the ray gun on some issues I had going on with my hands and arms. But we think the problem was poison oak, which is a plant with oily leaves with an active chemical agent, similar to poison ivy or poison sumac, which makes itchy rashes. Gosh, it's terrible, isn't it? In the middle of all that was going on with my hands and arms, I got bit by an insect in the crux of my elbow. It was very uncomfortable for several days until I thought of trying the ray gun on it. I gave the spot about 45 seconds on the side of the tube with a TENS pad on the other side of the elbow. And I'll be explaining the TENS pad just in a little while. The irritation was gone immediately and the bite looked much reduced. The following day, there was very little trace of the bite. And this person ran away before they gave the testimonial. But, oh no, there we go. They've done this in a fancy way. Bite on elbow. After 30 seconds of ray gun, the bite got reduced. And the following day, you can see that there's pretty much no evidence of the bite whatsoever. Bursitis before and after, taken on the 4th of August. The swelling's gone down. Another person, I used ray gun for 5 minutes on my arm and 5 minutes on my stomach, navel, in arc mode. You can see the before and after photos there. It's 2 days after that. And 10 minutes on my arm and 15 minutes on my stomach, navel, on the 27th, in arc mode again. Okay, and then on to the 29th, I used twice a day, 10 minutes each time on my arm and 15 minutes each time on my navel. And arc mode, and they used a nylon over the area. Now this is interesting because if you use a coarse mesh nylon, like a stretched pantyhose, I guess, it introduces a small air gap between the tube and your skin, which actually increases the power of ray gun. It increases the amount of ozone that's generated. The ozone kills the pathogens on the skin surface. And they're saying both areas are improving, not as inflamed, and pain is a lot less. Okay, and here this person used ray gun, and you can see before and after photos. The results weren't very pronounced. There are some conditions, like age spots, where sometimes ray gun works fantastic, but on some people it doesn't work at all on age spots. And that could be because some age spots are very established and they've truly become part of you, or they are not pathogen based. They weren't caused by a virus or a bacteria. Okay. This person writes, I finally managed to meet up with my cystic acne friend and we ran a 1-minute treatment, tube pressed against the skin. And there has been a reduction in the size of the cyst after one treatment. Well, normally things happen immediately, so that's hardly surprising. But that is good news. And we go straight into the lab tests. Now we wanted to have contract laboratories perform tests on our ray gun. And this way it becomes disjointed from ourselves. We can't be accused of skewing results. We wanted just a third party to go through and give it a regular, thorough test. We wanted to test cancer cells. We chose human melanoma cells. We used, well, we specified to the laboratory we wanted CCK8 strain of melanoma, and we wanted to check the proliferation or growth rate or even the survival rate of the cells after treatment. We used the ray gun, the cancer cells themselves. We used the skin from nude mice. Now, I would like to state here that we will never experiment on animals that were killed for the purpose of the experiment. These mice were euthanized in other experiments. We did not ask for them to be euthanized. So we used the skin from those mice. It was a bit of a challenge for our ethics and morals, but we thought, well, they're dead anyway. And we need to prove that ray gun works through skin. And so we used the mice skin, fetal calf serum, and other chemicals to make the cancer cells proliferate if they're still alive. Now, the mouse skin was immersed in alcohol and soaked so that it's very, very fluid. You can see ray gun in the distance. In the distance there being held by a clasp. We wanted to measure the logarithmic growth phase of the cancer cells. So we put the cells into these little suspension cells, or wells I should say, and they were incubated 37 degrees Celsius, small amount of CO2. These are the optimum environmental factors for maintaining the health of cancer cells. We divided the wells into 5 groups. Each of those groups had different treatment methods. The first one was the control. which would not have any treatment applied to it. And then each of these samples were observed, photographed under a microscope, and measured at different time intervals. First of all, immediately after treatment, then 1 day, and then 2 days after the treatment. Now, this is a very, very dangerous cancer cell, which a lot of people get in the course of their lifetime. So most experiments that use melanoma fail to produce results. It's a very tough cancer cell. So these are the 5 different samples. What we did, the first one was the control with no treatment. Then we applied it with contact mode VUV. This is when the gun is just placed up against the skin, or in this case, against the skin. And the third one, it's in contact mode, and it has earthing as well. This is using the TENS pad that I still haven't explained yet, but there is a video just coming up which explains what the earthing pad does. The fourth method is arc mode with earthing and skin. So the mouse skin was here, placed against the cancer cells. In arc mode, so a small gap was between the tube and between the mouse skin and the cancer cells. And the last one was in arc mode with earthing and no mouse skin, so it's directly against the cancer cells. It explains just at the bottom, arc mode is when the tube is 1 to 2 millimeters away from the treatment surface. And during and after the tests, the cancer cells were measured using very precise instruments. This is the results immediately after treatment. The inhibition rate, which is the column on the right, shows how much the cancer cells died, if you like. Now, with all of these 5 samples, there was very little change in the inhibition rate. So the cancer cells didn't immediately die after the treatments. After 1 day, it was a different story. The control had no inhibition rate. In contact mode, with the through skin, there was a 2.44% inhibition rate. If you use an earthing pad as well as the skin, it increases markedly to 16.49%. In arc mode, with earthing and skin, it's 4.13%. And so arc mode is actually more powerful because you can compare this with the contact mode with skin. It's basically twice as effective. Arc mode VUV with earthing, no skin, increased to an amazing 33.36%. And that increases after 48 hours. Again, the control has no change. Contact mode with skin is 1%. But look at this, contact mode with earthing goes to 40% almost. And that's through skin. That's a first for a VUV device. Normally a VUV device can only do in the order of 1 or 2%. We've got 40% reduction in cancer cells through skin. And arc mode is 12.91%. Arc mode with earthing, no skin, is 73%. So it's really done a lot of damage to the cancer cells. You can see it in graphical form here, the results. You can see how method number 5 is the most effective, which is arc mode with earthing and no skin. But even through skin, which is this one here, you get a reduction in the amount of cancer cells that are still viable. And the cancer cell death continues after that, but we stopped the experiment at 48 hours. Now, the conclusion was there's no significant effect on the in vitro proliferation, proliferative activity of cells in each group immediately after ray gun treatment. After 24 hours, arc mode VUV with earthing, without skin, significantly inhibited the cell proliferation activity in apoptosis. Apoptosis is the death, the collapse of the cancer cells by 33.36% compared to the control group. Oops. Now, when the skin was wrapped around the lamp, normally VUV devices do not work at all. But ray gun managed to have an apoptosis rate of 16.49%, which is absolutely incredible. And no significant effect was seen in the other groups. So this is quite surprising. When the experimenters came back with this report, they couldn't believe that a light therapy device could work through skin. We did an E. coli test as well, we being another laboratory, and this is the result. It's after 20 hours of VUV light application. The control group has got lots of little colonies of E. coli happily having little babies and growing. After 10 seconds, application time, 20 hours after this time, the cell rate, the dividing rate of the E. coli was markedly reduced. This is only after 10 seconds of application of ray gun. And after 30 seconds of application and then waiting 20 hours, only the real tough and hardy E. coli are there surviving. Yeah. Well, if we apply 1 minute's application of ray gun and then wait 20 hours, this is all that's left. 3 tiny little specks of E. coli. And after 2 minutes application of VUV, there's nothing. It's a clean slate. Every single E. coli was wiped out. The working theory. Now, ray gun creates VUV light within the gas tube. That's explaining again, VUV is a light wavelength which we cannot see. It stands for vacuum ultraviolet. It's light which can really pass through a vacuum unattenuated. If it passes through air, then the air blocks it. The bandwidth of the light is very narrow, which is between the range of 221 and 223 nanometers. And the photons from the VUV light are powerful enough to kill fungi, viruses, and cancer cells living on the skin, but it is safe. The dead skin layer on the human body almost completely absorbs VUV radiation. So VUV will not harm normal skin cells. However, VUV photons set off a chemical reaction to create nitric oxide and ozone within cells and tissues, and this works together to help various skin conditions. The nitric oxide clears bacterial, fungal, viral, and parasitic infections. Healthy cells thrive on oxygen and can't live without it. Disease-causing nasties like bacteria, fungi, parasites, and microbes are anaerobic, and they die in the presence of oxygen. So if you get oxygen in your body, all the bad guys die and all the good guys just love it. Now, ozone is a powerful activated form of oxygen. And the ozone produced kills anaerobic organisms without affecting healthy cells. Now, many of you would have heard of ozone therapy, where they take your blood, inject ozone into the blood and reintroduce it into your body. That's a very powerful therapy which addresses a great number of conditions, life-threatening conditions. Well, ray gun produces ozone. All of these combined can help get rid of skin conditions more effectively than contact mode alone. This is how you apply ray gun in arc mode. You touch the front of the tube against the skin, and you have it on an angle so that a little bit of a gap is on the other part of the tube, and ozone gets created here. Copious amounts of ozone. Now, in addition, ray gun forms a microscopic secondary ionization layer between the gas tube and the target skin. Current flows between the tube and the target. You can increase this current by placing an earthing pad on the opposite side of the target area. This increases the amount of ozone and nitric oxide, and more importantly, allows pathogen disabling compounds to travel deeper into the body to reach problem areas, all without harming healthy cells. Now, this is what we were talking about just a little bit earlier in the lab trials, through the skin. VUV cannot pass through skin. The healing effects of this MiraMate Ray Gun does pass through skin, and it goes much deeper. Now, interestingly, a study was released just last month proving that there was a way of killing the coronavirus. Now, it's really cool because it's like we've been developing this product and we're almost ready to release it, and then this report comes out saying, wow, this is a surprise. This wavelength, this magical 222, kills the coronavirus. And there's us thinking, yeah, we know that. we know that. But here we go. This is done in a formal study by the Hiroshima University Department of Public Relations. Now, the report was from the public relations, but the test was from the Hiroshima University. And the heading reads, researchers offer first proof that ultraviolet C light with a 222 nanometer wavelength, which is safer to use around humans, effectively kills the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Is it any surprise to learn that the MiraMate Ray Gun uses 222 nanometers as the wavelength? This is the first study in the world that proves its potency against the virus which causes COVID-19. Now, we didn't do the tests on COVID-19 because it's kind of a little bit dangerous, and we didn't have samples to use. So it's very good to know that as well as being effective against cancer cells and E. coli, it's also effective against the coronavirus. So let's read more about it. Well, I'll just I'll abbreviate in this report. They found that 222 nanometers, which is safer to use around humans, kills the coronavirus. And other studies have only looked as far as how good this wavelength is for seasonal coronaviruses, not specifically the coronavirus that causes the COVID-19. Now, in an in vitro experiment, that means in a dish, like the experiments that we did, the researchers showed that 99.7% of the coronavirus culture was killed after just a 30-second exposure to that light at a light intensity of 0.1 milliwatts per square centimeter. Now just keep that number in your mind, 0.1 milliwatt per square centimeter. Okay, now they used this Oshio's Care 222 krypton chloride eczema lamp. They don't sell this lamp to the public. You may be asking, why don't they sell it to the public? Well, we don't really know. Maybe it's commercial reasons. But you cannot buy this lamp. It's also, if you do work in a research or a large industrial corporation, and you do buy this lamp, the lamp costs us in the thousands. It's not easy to create 222 nanometers. Now, they go on to say a wavelength of 222 nanometers cannot penetrate the outer non-living layer of the human eye and skin. So it can't cause harm. It can't cause blindness. It makes it a safer but equally potent alternative to the more damaging 254 nanometer UVC germicidal lamps increasingly used in disinfecting healthcare facilities. Now, this is a very important point. Ultraviolet lights that you can buy are extremely dangerous. They have mercury in them. Mercury vapor spectral range is around 254 nanometers. It's okay for killing germs, but it's also okay for killing our own cells. It's kind of dangerous. And so these kind of lamps need a lot of protection. They need to be shielded so you can't see them. You need to wear protection, gloves and other things to stop yourself from being burned. It's very, very dangerous. So our light, which is 222, is safe, and it's been proven to be safe in that report. And this is another group. This is in the Kobe University. They demonstrated a world first via animal experimentation that repeated irradiation of 222 nanometers, once again, ultraviolet radiation, to see how good it was for disinfecting surfaces. They stated it does not cause skin cancer and it is safe for exposure to human skin and eyes. They finish off by saying this technology is expected to be utilized in a wide range of antibacterial and viral inactivation applications in the medical field, as well as many opportunities for use in daily life. Now, they repeatedly irradiated using a 222 nanometer lamp onto a group of mice. Now, these mice were very sensitive to ultraviolet, and they have a habit of developing skin cancer. They've got a 10,000 times greater chance of developing skin cancer compared to regular wild mice. So they put these poor mice underneath this 222 nanometer lamp. They found that in the control group, who were irradiated with normal ultraviolet light, normal being just the 280 to 350 nanometer range, all of them developed skin cancer. And many of those mice also displayed other things with corneal injuries. That's injuries in the eye with cataracts where you can't see, you get blind. And UVB is the wavelength range within natural sunlight which causes skin cancer. So when people talk about ultraviolet, immediately you think cancer. I mean, who doesn't, right? And you have sunblock they put onto your skin to block ultraviolet light. But there's this magical 222 ultraviolet light. With these mice, no mice in the 222 nanometer germicidal lamp group developed skin cancer. Just repeating, none of them. Nor were there any abnormalities found at the microscopic level upon further analysis. And so it became clear that the reason 222 nanometer radiation caused no harm was related to the level of skin penetration. Normal UV radiation passes right through your skin to the deeper parts of your skin. It can damage the cell's DNA, but 222 nanometers only reaches the very, very top layers of the skin and causes no damage to the DNA of epidermic or living cells. This shows a very simplistic way of how they radiated the mice. You can see the UV lamp here and here. And they dissected the skin. They could see through cross-section is how deep the damage was. But VUV did not reach the lower layer of the epidermis. Now this is the light spectrum of our device. Where there's the big spike here, that's 222 nanometers. Because the unit is quite powerful, the measurement had to be measured at about 2 inches away from the lamp. Any closer, and the test instrument started getting very unhappy and decided to stop. But you can see the spectrum of the wavelength. All the damaging, all the nasty wavelength, which is past the 222, is virtually zero. Now remember, I asked you to remember that number before. It was the light intensity of the VUV lamp that was used in the experiments. They used 0.1 milliwatts per square centimetre. Ray gun's got 1 milliwatt per square centimetre. So it's certainly quite a powerful device. So what do you get? You get the main unit, you get a gas tube. The gas tube is replaceable. You can easily remove the gas tube, which is this, and replace it if you need to. You have goggles, power supply, the earthing pad, earthing cable, a user manual, and a beautiful portable case. There's an LED light on the handle. That lights up to say that the ray gun has power and is ready to run. The power adapter, you just plug into the base near the handle. We have adapters for all different countries, so don't worry if your power adapters look different in your part of town. We'll send one that's appropriate to where you live. Operation instructions. You fully insert the gas tube carefully into the ray gun head. The gas tube is fragile, so don't use too much force. Then you connect the power adapter into the base of the handle, and the LED light in the handle will illuminate when ray gun receives power. Even though the VUV from ray gun is perfectly safe, we still say wear protective glasses. You place the tube of ray gun directly onto the problem area, and you gently press the trigger for a short period of time. Generally it's about 1 or 2 minutes. You'll hear a high-pitched buzzing noise. You treat the problem area twice a day, 2 to 5 minutes each time. And you just release the trigger when you wish to stop the treatment. Now, depending on the location and the type of disease, ray gun has different modes which may be more appropriate. There's the contact mode, angle mode, and penetration mode. With contact mode, you place the tube flat onto the problem area and pull the trigger. This mode is ideal if you have sensitive skin or small skin problems. And here you can see the contact mode being applied. With angle mode, you place the edge of the tube to touch the skin and slowly move the tube across the target area. We've called angle mode arc mode during this presentation, but the more precise term is angle mode. The mode is recommended for skin which isn't so sensitive because it creates tiny arcs around the edges. These arcs create more nitrous oxide and ozone. It also encourages the VUV to travel further into your skin, and whilst it doesn't damage healthy cells, it kills pathogens which may be hiding under the surface. But more importantly, the nitric oxide gets carried further down. Okay, now because a smaller surface is being contacted, the energy is more focused. And that's another reason why it's more powerful. And then we have the big one, the penetration mode. Now, penetration mode is using an earthing pad. It increases the power and penetration of treatments. You plug one end of the earthing cable into the little hole next to the power supply, which is at the base of the handle. And you plug the other end into the cable, into the earthing pad itself. You place the gun directly against your skin, position the earthing pad on the opposite side of the problem area, and you pull the trigger. You can use the earthing pad with the other two modes as well, which is the angle mode. And so it's a very, very good way of increasing the depth of the treatments. And there's penetration mode being displayed now, where the TENS pad is on the other side of the body or just across from the treatment area.
Hello everyone, welcome to our MiraMate channel. In this video, we are going to show you how to use MiraMate Ray Gun. When you receive your package, you will get the following items: 10 earthing pads, an earthing cable, a power supply, a pair of goggles, a gas tube, the Ray Gun main unit, and a user manual. First, you need to fully insert the gas tube carefully into the ray gun head. Be careful when installing the gas tube, as it is fragile and may break if too much force is applied. Next, you should connect the power adapter into the ray gun power socket. Plug the other end of the power adapter into the mains power source. An LED light in the handle will illuminate when ray gun receives power. At this point, put on the UV protective glasses. These must always be worn before using ray gun. Finally, you should place the tube directly on the problem area and gently press the trigger for the desired treatment duration. You will hear a high-pitched buzzing noise. Release the trigger to stop the treatment. The first mode is contact mode. To apply contact mode, you should place the tube directly on the problem area and pull the trigger. The second mode is angle mode. For this mode, you touch the skin with the edge of the tube and slowly move the tube across the target area. This mode is recommended for non-sensitive skin. It provides a higher treatment efficiency because an arc will form around the edges. The third mode is penetration mode. This mode uses an earthing pad to increase power and penetration of treatments. Plug one end of the earthing cable into the little hole next to the power supply at the base of the handle. Plug the other end of the cable into the earthing pad and position the earthing pad on the opposite side of the problem area. This mode can be used in combination with the other two modes. Thank you for watching this video.
So that explains how to use ray gun. It also shows how convenient ray gun is. It's just a little device, so easy to hold, so easy to use. Okay, so this just goes through other information. That you place the earthing pad on a clean, dry skin because the electricity, the contact has to be good. You choose a location which does not have too much hair, and if necessary, remove the excess hair with a shaver. That's why I didn't do that video. You do not place the earthing pad near the head or the heart. It does not matter how far away the earthing pad is from the problem area. You can remove the tube from ray gun and clean the tube using a cloth which has been damped with alcohol, water, or other cleaning solution. Use a soft cleaning cloth or tissue to dry the tube after the cleaning. You make sure that the gas tube is completely dry before using. Cautions: avoid using during pregnancy or if you have a pacemaker or other internal electronic device. MRI safe electronic devices can be used with ray gun, and do not use if you have epilepsy or light-induced seizures or migraines. Now, if you have a disease related to photon sensitivity, such as porphyria, polymorphic light eruption, solar urticaria, lupus, and so on, these conditions make the skin more sensitive to light, which could make treatment uncomfortable or cause skin swelling, blisters, or infection. Do not use if you have a history of keloid scar formation, a known sensitivity to light, which is some form of photosensitivity, or if you're taking medication that makes the skin more sensitive to light. These include non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents like aspirins, ibuprofen, acetaminophen, tetracyclamines. Don't they have horrible names for all these drugs? The drugs are horrible too, so it's quite appropriate. But don't use it if you're taking any drug which makes you sensitive to light. And you don't shield the ventilation holes during use. Wear UV protection glasses during use. Do not look at the light directly or use ray gun on your eyes or eyelids. Ensure your skin is clean and free from sunblock or skincare products before use. Keep ray gun away from liquids and store in a dry location. You keep ray gun out of reach from children. You do not insert metal objects into ray gun. You don't share ray gun if you have a contagious skin disease. And if ray gun becomes wet inside, immediately unplug the power cable and send it back so we can have a look at it. Do not try to disassemble and repair ray gun yourself. Q&A. What are the differences between MiraMate Flash and ray gun? Now, Flash is a VUV device that we developed a while ago. It produced amazing results. Now, the wavelength band from Flash is wider. It isn't just 222. When Flash illuminates it, it appears to be white, and a lot of the energy goes into the other spectrum of the VUV. This is why you can't use Flash for long periods of time. The VUV light from ray gun is much narrower in bandwidth and is therefore safer. Now, Flash works a different way as well. It produces very strong bursts of ultraviolet light, but ray gun delivers a continuous stream of VUV at a very high frequency. So more VUV is delivered, but it's delivered in a more safe way. Now, in angle mode, ray gun can produce a large amount of ozone, nitric oxide, as well as localized heat. All of these factors combine to treat skin conditions much more effectively than contact mode alone. What is the story behind the development of ray gun? Well, we already had Flash, and Flash was really good, very good in fact. But it is possible to cause skin redness through overuse. So we decided to develop a VUV device which is much safer to use and more effective. And we've already talked about the bandwidth being so much safer. Is it safe? Are there any side effects? Yes and no. Yes, it is safe, and no, there are no side effects. Is it safe to use for animals and plants? Well, absolutely. It's ideal for animals and plants. Which parts of the body can ray gun be used for? Can we use it on broken skin and ulcerated skin? Well, you can use it on any parts of your body apart from directly onto your eyes or eyelids. And sure, you can use it on ulcerated skin. If you cut yourself, you can immediately use ray gun on the cut. You'll find that the cut doesn't develop the redness around the cut, and it heals so much faster, as Shafi Klein found. How long does it take to see any effect? Well, generally it's immediately. I've treated skin spots where the spots disappear in front of my eyes. Blemishes will fade straight away, but sometimes it takes multiple treatments. Skin results long-lasting. Yes, they are long-lasting. They're permanent because you're removing the cause. The cause is pathogens in your skin. And if you kill the pathogens, there's nothing to cause a reoccurrence. And the symptoms do not return. And generally, you don't feel anything during treatments. If you're using arc mode, people with sensitive skin may feel a tingling. They may feel some heat as well. But most people will probably not feel it because it's a very mild sensation. I see a lot of questions coming through. I'll answer them once I've finished this presentation, which will be very shortly. So is it easy to use? Of course it's easy to use. There's only one button. And do you need training? No, you don't need training. You just plug in the power and press the trigger. In fact, if you do any training, it's just basically telling you how you can just hold it up against your skin or have it on an angle or using the contact pad. I've given the training in 10 seconds. And is it battery powered? No, unfortunately it's not battery powered. The power levels that are required for ray gun pretty much exclude its possibility of having batteries inside. It is even though it's a small unit, it is quite powerful. Batteries wouldn't last more than about 2 or 3 minutes. Can it be used in conjunction with other MiraMate products? Yes, it can be. Or spooky products for that matter as well. What are the differences between ray gun and other MiraMate devices? Well, ray gun is probably the ultimate in ease of use. It's only one button. Only one button. So there's nothing else to press. There's just nothing else. So pull the trigger and that's it. It's also the most modern, even though it is simple. There are a lot of technology has gone into this device. We've managed to make VUV penetrate the skin, which is probably a world first. I could be wrong, but I'd say it's almost certainly a world first for a consumer device, because other devices only treat very, very surface conditions rather than deeper conditions. MiraMate does go deeper, and it looks beautiful as well. You know, it feels nice on your hand, comfortable. Yeah, it just feels right. What is the warranty policy for ray gun? Well, we've got a 1-year warranty and a lifetime service as well. So at any time, even if the warranty has expired, we will accept it back for repair if it's been run over by a truck or something. Does ray gun use sustainable materials? We try and use sustainable materials for all our products. So wherever it is possible, then yes. Like the packaging, for example, is biodegradable. But of course, it's made from plastic, and plastic isn't. But we try our best to make whatever we can biodegradable. Like the TENS pads, they're biodegradable. But the unit itself is not. So that's the end of the presentation. So there we go. So let's see. There's been one Q&A question come up. Is it safe to use to treat psoriasis on the eyelid? Is it safe? We've already stated in the presentation that it's not safe directly onto the eyes or the eyelid. Now, what I'm about to say is my personal view, not the company policy. I have treated this on an eyelid, and it is perfectly safe in that time when I treated it against the eyelid. I didn't use a TENS pad in contact mode, for penetration mode, I should say, and I had my eyelid closed. I would use it on my eyelid. I can't give you a recommendation for your eyelid. We've got to be very careful when you give recommendations because, we always err on the side of caution. Now, I'm asked, does it work on carbuncles? So a ray gun works on more than just a few skin conditions. It works on almost all skin conditions. It basically kills any pathogens that are causing the condition, and that can be viral, bacterial, fungal. And so your skin then naturally heals. If you go into angle mode, then it removes the spot as you're watching it. It basically rubs off a spot on your skin as you're using it in angle mode. So if you've got a spot on your hand, going like this on your hand, the spot usually rubs straight away. There may be some times when the spot has been there for a very long time, in which case nothing will remove the spot. Age spots are quite, probably in that category where it's worked with some people really well, and these are generally age spots that have just appeared, but other people that's made no difference. So it really depends, I guess, on how established the age spots are. Well, I've gone through the whole talk and presentation, but I haven't actually shown ray gun in action. Now, you're supposed to wear these protection glasses. I'll put them on because I'm supposed to be setting a good example. So these are the glasses that we send to you with the kit. You press it against your skin and pull the trigger, and that's it being produced now. Now, because the light is of such a narrow 222 nanometers, all you can see is a very, very light purple color coming out. Very, very light. But the light intensity is actually much greater than what our eye can perceive, because the light is in the area that we cannot see. Now, I wanted to mention a little bit about history. 100 years ago, violet rays were the rage, and they actually worked. They actually worked quite well. It was a similar kind of device, not as beautiful, but they're okay. And they had a little glass tube, and you turn them on, and you get an arc, a very bright arc within the tube, and that would treat your body for certain conditions, and they actually worked quite well. But then they stopped working so well, and this sort of piqued our interest. We were wondering why is this? And a lot of that is because the type of glass was changed in the tube, and the glass was changed to a type which blocks the lower wavelengths. Also, as part of the marketing side, they wanted the light to be very bright, and so they'd quite often add a tiny bit of mercury into the tube, because mercury makes tubes light up much brighter. This is what they do in a lot of commercial devices today. They add a tiny bit of mercury into gas tubes, and the tubes then, the light shifts into your visible spectrum. They look impressive, look amazing, and then people think, wow, it looks so bright, I want one now. But it doesn't have the biological effect. As well as that, the mercury vapor produces a bit of dangerous ultraviolet light. Whereas we've focused on safety and performance. So we aren't into the theatrics. One of our early prototypes, we did use a tube sourced elsewhere just to test the electronics within the prototype. And that tube was enormously bright. It was like a laser light in brightness. And we could see immediately. If we use that tube in here, you'd be so impressed, but it just wouldn't work so well. It's got to be that magical 222 nanometers. That wavelength is very, very effective. Doesn't look so impressive. That looks just like a gentle purple light, but the bugs don't see that. The bugs are being hit by very high energetic photons of light in that magical 222 nanometers wavelength. Very, very safe. This was proven in 2 of these studies, which were released very recently in April and I believe in September. August last month. So it's very, very new news. But it's what we knew all along through other experiments that we'd done prior to developing Flash. So Ray Gun now brings it on a new level. It's focusing everything into a very narrow 222 wavelength bandwidth, and helps you with a multitude of problems. So carbuncles and many, many other issues, Ray Gun will help. Well, that ends the formal presentation. Goodbye, everybody. Take care. I'll catch you next time.